I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're taking a deep dive into a story of resilience, renewal, and the power of transformation with Jessica Veronica Rodriguez. She is the visionary behind a wonderful book. It is called Into the Light Again, Restored, Renewed, Risen. Drawing from a rich tapestry of multicultural experiences and a dedicated career in coaching and teaching, Jessica shares her insights on empowering women to navigate life's challenges with grace and strength. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight, and we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful book. The links are below the interview. So good to see you here today on Spotlight, Jessica.
Thank you, Logan, for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I love the title of the book, Into the Light Again, Restored, Renewed, Risen. It almost seems to have spiritual overtones as well. Is that part of your book as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's something that, sometimes we forget about, but like it's really the thing that pulls us together and makes us who we are. So yeah, it's definitely that.
Let's give the folks at home an overview. What is Into the Light Again all about?
Well, Into the Light is basically about, my testimony from it spans over a 13-year time period of, it's just some things I had gone through. It's my testimony about my relationship with Jesus and how he came and got me through a really dark time. And you can't be in the light unless you're in the dark first.
Yeah.
And so the whole concept of this book is just spanning 13 years of the time that I was married, and I went through a really tumultuous situation, but you have to go dark in the first 3 chapters, but after that it's a happy ending, and it's just this turnaround and this restoration that's happened. And so I just felt compelled to really talk about that whole thing in that book.
And that's the wonderful thing about the story of Jesus and the example of his life, is that it's a redemption story. I mean,
Absolutely.
so he
Absolutely.
went from light to darkness to light as well in his life's journey.
Yeah.
And hopefully all of us do. I mean, we'd like to avoid the dark, but it's unfortunately part of the journey, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Logan. I agree. It's yes, and that's the whole thing about this book is that it takes. I mean, mainly I wanted just people, and especially women, to understand that they can have a new beginning. It doesn't have to stop at the tragedy or the problem or all those things that they're wrestling with inside of themselves. You can actually have something new that can begin.
Absolutely. Tell us what your inspiration to write this book was.
Well, mostly, the inspiration came from the fact that I couldn't shake loose from the fact that I wanted women to understand that even though, things are so difficult in life and things appear to be at their darkest, and I mean dark to the point of where you don't want to live, or you think that there's no reason, you don't have a destiny, you don't have a calling, you don't have something you can do with your life. And really this book, at the end of all of this 13 years later, as I'm writing this book, I really just wanted women to understand that they can have a new beginning. It doesn't have to be in the way that they have known their life to be. It can be something new. You can have new dreams, you can have a purpose. And sometimes when you have your heart broken or you're in a problem, you don't actually see your talents, you don't see what you can do, you don't see that there is something on the other side. And so I really wanted this book to be an encouragement to women and to people everywhere that they can have a new beginning, and there is something on the other side. There is destiny, and there is there is the best is yet to come
Yeah.
after this time period. And so this book inspired me to I just couldn't get it out of my belly. I couldn't get it out of my gut or out of my
Mm.
heart. I just wanted people to know this message, that there is something new on the other side, and not to get to really just stop believing the lies about themselves.
Exactly, exactly. Always to keep in mind that this too shall pass, no matter
Yes,
how dark the situation we're in right now.
absolutely.
Like we said, the story of Jesus himself is one of a redemption story, and that he rose from the dead after being betrayed and crucified, of course. You target the book to women. Obviously, it has universal appeal to all people because men and women go through good times and bad times and have challenges. But do you feel that women have a unique set of challenges that perhaps men don't?
Yeah, sometimes I do think that. I mean, especially since, we kind of go through a different way of thinking. Of course, women are
Mhm.
different than men in general, but
Yeah.
I think, as long as we can embrace where we're at and
Mhm.
not look at it as that it's already the end goal, but look at it as, there's actually something at the end of the tunnel rather than thinking that the pain that you're in is your end goal. It's not. And I think that's what this story brings is that it's not to focus on what happened, really. I mean, you have to touch what happened for just a brief moment in this book, but it's really just it's an encouragement to know that you don't have to stay there, that you
Mhm.
can move on, and like you said before, it's the redemption, and it's that story of
Yeah.
that's what Christ came to do, was to give us a new life and a new beginning. And we have to accept it, we have to receive it, and we have to believe it. And that's what this book is about, is just leaving the old behind, dealing with what happened, and moving on to your new beginning and your new destiny.
Absolutely. You've kind of touched upon this already, but is there a takeaway or so that you would like the folks at home to have once they read your book?
Yeah, I mean, I want them to read this book with an open mind. They have to be ready for change. Like, this is the aha moment. Like, you have to be ready to deal with some pretty dark areas of your life and say to yourself, this is I want this to change. I want the Lord to come in, and I want him to deal with this and to change it. And I want to take those steps of faith to get into my new beginning and into the next thing. Because I'm not going to stay where I am, because for something new to begin, something old has to die, and the way out is the way through. And so
Mhm.
that's really, the takeaways. It's just, but really, it's not just some book and some feel good thing. It's, you have to make a decision as a person that I'm going to embrace this. I'm going to make those changes. And so it's a realization and a restoration, but it's also you taking the tools and realize that you can actually get to the other side. So it's really a calling and a
Mhm.
beckoning for this person who reads this to say, and it can be men and women who read it, but like,
Yeah.
obviously my base is women, but I want
Mhm.
them to be able to read this, and not just with some lofty dream of, yeah, I want to feel good and I want to get past it, but actually being intentional about your healing
Mm.
and being able to overcome and get into the next thing. It's really takes a lot of intentionality. So that's really, I would say, my takeaway as you're reading this. What is it? How can you apply this?
Yeah, exactly. And it's great advice that if you want to make a change in your life, you have to be open to change in your life. And
Absolutely,
you have to
absolutely.
have that mindset. You have to be able to do the groundwork. You have to do the thought work. You have to do what is necessary to move on and not be stuck. Like
Absolutely.
we said in the beginning of this interview, we go from the light to the dark to the light and possibly to the dark again. Hopefully, we end up in the light when it's all done.
Yeah.
But you've
Yeah.
got to be open to change and realize what's happening to you, no matter how bad, is only temporary. And some things
That's right.
will hurt a lifetime, but you'll learn to live with them. But
Absolutely.
you got to realize that light is there and goes on. Before we leave you today, I want to ask you, tell us a little bit about yourself. My producers say there might be a fun fact or an interesting something we need to know about you.
Oh, gee whiz. Okay, so I am an avid snorkeler. I love anything water sports. That's kind of a fun fact about me. And I guess that's because I kind of like doing things a little bit, stepping out in faith and doing things that are a little bit different. So that's a bit of a fun fact. And I was an international teacher for about 13 years of my life before breaking into the entrepreneur space as a coach and a breakthrough life coach for women, to help them to embrace their new beginning and really look at, give them a practical plan on how to get to their goals. That's really what I do. And so a lot of the fun fact about me would be that really just getting myself and taking the plunge, taking the challenging thing
Yeah,
about me, and kind of just looking through things in that state of mind,
exactly.
and
You
doing
literally and
nothing that's scary.
figuratively take the plunge because you like to
Absolutely.
snorkel, which
Doing
is
the
good.
scary thing, doing the scary thing and embracing it.
Exactly, exactly. Life is most exhilarating when you face your fears and when you step onto
Yes.
that ledge. That's for sure. Is there a website or something where people can find out about your work or get in touch with you if they'd like to
Yeah.
utilize your services as a life coach?
Yeah. So there's three things. I have a Facebook page, which
Mhm.
has it's jessvrodriguez.com,
Mhm.
which is my book. And it's got all of the links to there for Facebook,
Yep.
for Instagram, and for email. And those are the ways that anyone can get in touch with me if they want to take it further. I do have a light course that goes with this. So it's Into the Light book, but I also have a light course,
Mhm.
which is typically for women that have gone through this kind of thing, if they wanted to kind of be guided in like a 90-day period through a course. And so that's what's going on site on the website as well.
Wonderful. All great advice. The links again are below this interview. Jessica
Yes.
Veronica Rodriguez is the visionary author behind a wonderful book that just might change your life. You're feeling like you're not where you want to be on this journey, on this road, on this path that we call life. This is the book for you. It's called Into the Light Again, Restored, Renewed, Risen. It might just change your life. Jessica, thank you
So
so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
you're more than welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you.
Honored to have you as a guest. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.